What's up guys, Lifting here. To celebrate the upcoming buff to spell totems, I will in this video show you my top 5 underused spell totem setups. That said, there may be a reason that these aren't that popular, but I'll leave that up for you to decide. Number 1 is Arctic Breath crit totems. For this setup I'm using Spell Totem, Arctic Breath, faster casting, increased critical strikes, controlled destruction and hypothermia. To produce more projectiles I'm using the Rain of Splinters duel. And the reason I'm not using cold penetration is if because I were to play this build, I would do it as an Inquisitor and pick up the node that makes it so that critical strikes will ignore enemies' resistances, thus making the penetration gem obsolete as they don't stack together. So it's worth taking into consideration that the damage would of course be much higher if I had my Inquisitor ascendancy points, but I don't, so you'll have to imagine that. With this build I'm scaling the damage via increased spell, elemental, critical and totem damage, then some area of effect damage, cast speed, and I'm running Anger and Herald of Thunder to further boost the damage. Alright, number 2, Ball Lightning crit totems. And as you guys probably already guessed, it is pretty similar to the Arctic Breath setup. Here I'm using Spell Totem, Ball Lightning, faster casting, increased critical strikes, controlled destruction, and increased area of effect. Alternatively, you could go slower projectiles instead, and I'm also using a Rain of Splinters duel here for more projectiles. The damage is scaled in a similar fashion as the Arctic Breath setup, but instead of Anger I'm here running Wrath to scale the damage more effectively, as it is a lightning skill of course. The Inquisitor would be a great choice here as an Ascendancy class as well, hence why I haven't included Lightning Pen for this setup as well. Next up, number 3, crit Ethereal Knives. And yes, I know what you guys are thinking, lifting is a crit whore, and to be honest, that is true. However, the reason I test most of these builds as crit is because of the characters I have available to test this with, which are old crit builds. That said, I would probably have chosen crit anyway, so. But for this setup, I'm using Spell Totem, Ethereal Knives, faster casting, increased critical strikes, controlled destruction, and added fire damage. The damage is scaled via projectile, spell, physical, crit, and totem damage. And besides that, there's a bit of extra projectile speed, and I'm using the Hatred aura together with Herald of Ash as they both scales of physical damage. And honestly, EK feels somewhat mechanically weak when used with totems, as you can't always control in which direction it shoots, sometimes making it so that it only attacks one monster while there's a whole pack close to it. It doesn't do that good against single targets either, so. Number 4 is Flame Surge, which is kinda interesting as it deals a lot of damage but feels somewhat gimped due to its low area of effect and slow cast animation. Similar to both Ball Lightning and Arctic Breath setup, this skill would fit really well with the Inquisitor perks. For this setup I'm running Spell Totem, Flame Surge, faster casting, increased area of effect, increased critical strikes and elemental focus. And as you can see, it feels pretty dance game. It simply doesn't hit enough monsters at a time, making it fairly inefficient against larger packs, and the totems easily get surrounded and killed. Against single targets the damage is pretty good though. So if you just plan on killing like single monsters at a time throughout your entire leveling process in Path of Exile, I guess this could work. Finally, number 5 is crit Magma Orb totems, which similarly to Arctic Breath and Ball Lightning also uses the Rain of Splinters duel to generate additional projectiles. The setup here is Spell Totem, Magma Orb, faster casting, increased critical strikes, controlled destruction and increased area of effect. Adding something like faster projectiles could even work as well, or more crit damage or something like that. Again, the reason I leave out Fire Pen is because that would be unnecessary if you were to choose the Inquisitor as your Ascendancy class. And I know I keep saying this, but I'm sure there's still gonna be someone complaining about me not using the penetration gems. Because, to be fair, those gems are a major damage boost, unless you are going as the Inquisitor. But still, you guys get it. The damage is scaled via spell, elemental, critical, and totem damage, then area of effect, cast speed, and I'm running Anger and Herald of Thunder here. And so, out of all 5 spell totem setups, I much prefer Arctic Breath and Ball Lightning. I honestly believe that these two could work pretty well as standalone and specialized Inquisitor builds. The Magma Orb totem seems okay and could probably work as well, but it does suffer from some aiming issues, to be honest. EK totems kinda sucked, but that could have been something to do with the setup I was using, but still the aiming issues kinda makes them a pain to use. At least I think they'll end up becoming pretty frustrating to use. As for the flame surge totems, let's not even, yeah. I also tried lightning warp totems, which sucked. Oh, and blade vortex totems is in a league entirely for themselves. You should try that out. Seriously, don't try them. Don't do it. Now, it should be said optimally when testing this, you do of course want to have specialized characters for each skill, but I feel like it went alright nonetheless. At least it gave us some kind of indication of how the skills work mechanically. Also, I'm sure that some of the gem setups could have been more optimal, but typically you need to play around with the build for a long time to realize that, so I just went with what seemed like not a bad choice at least. Anyway guys, since spell totems are getting a damage buff in 2.3, I just felt like trying out some different combinations, and then I thought I might as well share them with you guys. I also considered doing a top 5 worst totem setups ever, but you know, there's only so much time in the day, so maybe another time. Anyway, let me know what your favorite underused spell totem combination is in the comments. Subscribe for more Path of Exile content. Thank you for watching, and bros, do you even nerd?